distanced yourself from the whole thing. Bad mother!
So mine's up, yours is up, and we're up, baby. Welcome to Spoiled for Choice. Glad we could have you. Noah's got to make a post, so it's just you and me for a little bit until he gets that done. Basically, he doesn't exist. I hope you all had a good Christmas or a bad Christmas.
I shared that thing, but I didn't see a link on it.
Well, it had which. What did the post say?
We go live at 8.
Nope,
That means you guys.
that wasn't the most recent one. That was my last one. I posted that at like 7:20.
Yeah, well, I know that, but all three of them are identical in content. They just say something. The only difference is one of them has a picture.
The one that
None of them
the
have.
only one that has the link is the one that I posted 2 minutes ago.
That one just had a picture. I checked it thrice.
Goodness gracious.
Just letting you know.
Well, check the Spoiled
Just
for
making sure.
Choice page. I know I posted it there. But I know today we're supposed to be doing an apocalypse scenario. I'm having trouble remembering what that apocalypse scenario is. So if you don't remember, I've got to go on my hard drive real quick and figure that out.
I remember,
All right.
but it was from a fan submission. That was your friend. Before he was my friend, and he is my friend now. We've sealed that blood pact.
You signed a legally binding agreement.
I signed a legally binding blood pact. Yes.
Legally blonding. So no, what do you end up
You
scoring for Christmas, man? What's your haul look like?
you wouldn't think that they'd legally let you do a blood pact in front of like a judge or anything, but they will. You just got to go to his house whenever he doesn't know what's going on.
While he's asleep.
Yeah.
But dude, what was your tell me?
Or she. I don't want to be sexist about who's going to be a judge.
That's fair. Women can be judges. Don't be a sexist. Uh,
Um,
stop smacking and lacking on your microphone and tell me what your haul was like, good buddy. What did you get?
I got a pencil, a keyboard, and an iPad to go with it all.
Well, you made that incredibly underwhelming. What kind of iPad do you have it with you? Do you want to show us?
I could go get it.
Oh, it's not with you. It's not the. I don't care if it's not at the ready. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. I don't keep it within arm's reach. I'm not dependent on technology.
You should be. It's 2021, baby.
I got the coolest thing though. So that I don't use too much deodorant accidentally. My parents got me a giant dragon that protects my deodorant.
What?
And you may think, wouldn't that just be a regular dragon? No, it's hollowed out inside, specifically in the shape of an Old Spice deodorant container.
And how does it protect your deodorant?
The deodorant's inside the dragon, buddy. People don't even know I have deodorant. People walking out, oh, he doesn't even use deodorant. But then, that's the surprise, because I do. It's inside the dragon.
Okay, I see. I see what's
A
going on
weird
here.
gift, but it's cool.
I mean, I'm sure if I Googled deodorant protecting dragon, it would be the first thing that popped up. Undoubtedly. You
Oh,
want to
careful.
know what I got?
Careful, it's limited edition, Tim. You probably couldn't find one if you tried.
I got a pro yo-yo. I got a pro yo.
It's got pink string.
Yeah, I wanted to use this string first. It came with like 4 different strings. Because I
What,
still have no
why don't
clue.
you want to use pink first?
To draw out all the homophobes so I can say, hey man, that's not cool.
Like being a homophobe is not cool, or
Being a homophobe is not cool.
okay. I thought you were gonna like join in with the homophobes
No,
and
no,
be like,
no.
yeah, man, that's not cool.
No, I want to go on the record and say homophobia is not cool.
Oh, okay.
Also, if you're watching this and you're like, wow, the power is really not there, I feel cruddy. So,
And he looks it too.
Noah's got to carry the energy this time around. So if this is dull, it's Noah's fault.
I'm here snacking on some like weird sugar candy.
Well, you need to be doing your job, which is co-hosting this show. Sorry, bud.
So what was the theme of our apocalypse? It was something to do with wasn't it something to do with like Christmas, like Santa Claus?
I think that was gonna be it, but I thought Johnny changed it at the last second. I can go through and no wait, because I don't want to hold everything up. But you get the drill. You get the gist. What
I
would
feel
it?
like you're underprepared.
I feel like you're underprepared.
I was under the assumption we're doing the Santa Claus one.
We certainly can. I mean, we're doomed to fail. Like if Santa Claus decides to go rogue, like what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? What are your options?
I think it's Marvel that stated that Santa Claus is like canon, like the third strongest, or no, I think he is like the absolute strongest mutant to ever exist, or something like that.
Santa Claus a
In the
mutant?
in the Marvel canon. Let me check.
Also got this.
What is it?
It's a headband that says I'm the Hokage and you ain't nothing.
Mine's red. What does that mean?
It means you're a broccoli fan.
But I'm not the Hokage.
Nah, you're barely a brokage.
You wish that you could be my Brokage.
Alright. Now that I've assumed my natural form.
Santa Claus.
Marvel canon.
Mutant Marvel. Earth 616. He's a legendary figure. Okay, yeah, well, we already knew that. He is. Where's his powers? It says he was inspired by that of Asgard. Okay, so some of these are just literally just actual things. Okay, here we go. Is this it? On December 24th, Cerebro, the mutant detecting computer of X-Men, detected the most powerful mutant ever to be registered in the New York Rockefeller Center. This being was also detected by the Brotherhood of Mutants, who sought it out, resulting in a skirmish with the X-Men. This ended when Santa briefly transformed all of the Brotherhood into inanimate toys, teleported the X-Men away, erased both groups' memories of his involvement, and then gifted the city with snowfall, the first white Christmas in years. So there you go.
So Santa's OP is what you're telling me. He's
Yeah.
he's min maxed all of his skill tree.
Oh yeah, he's chosen a skill tree and he's went with it. He's went with it. He's the strongest mutant in
Man,
existence apparently,
that's
or
terrifying.
ever registered.
Could
So
you
just think
imagine
that could have been you.
what do you
If
what
you'd
do
have
you
done that, that could
how
have
do you
been
think
you.
it'd go down if you had to throw hands with Santa?
Which are we talking about? That Santa Claus, or are we talking about a different one? Because I'd pick a different one. I'd pick the one from the very first Santa Claus. You know the movie The Santa Claus?
Tim Allen? You'd fight Tim Allen?
Yeah. No, I'm saying the very first one that he literally just shouts at him, and the guy falls off the roof and dies immediately.
Oh yeah,
I'd
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
I'd fight that Santa Claus. That Santa Claus, I
The
think
one
I
hit
could take.
knockout Santa.
He didn't even hit him. He just said, "Hey, buddy," and then the guy is getting startled and falls off the roof and dies.
Yeah,
You
you would think that
know,
someone who's been doing that for like centuries would be used to.
I mean, you think he'd be used to getting catcalled from the roof, much less just somebody, "Hey, what you doing up there?"
So you'd throw hands with pre Tim Allen Santa Claus. Not you wouldn't, but you wouldn't throw with
Yeah,
Tim Allen. That's
yeah, I
what you.
wouldn't throw it to him. I saw him fight Jack Frost. There's a literal fight scene in that one. I don't know that I could do that one.
So you okay?
I
So we're not keying into something that's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
I get that. That's
Uh,
respectable.
so which Santa Claus do you think you could beat?
Uh, put me up against some marbles. I'll handle it.
You think you can beat Ultimate Mutant Santa Claus?
I am the Hokage, bro. He can't
You
handle
don't
me.
think he could? You don't think he'd turn you into an inanimate toy like a ping pong paddle and then just teleport you millions of miles away?
No, dude. I've thrown hands with Majin Buu. I can't be turned into candy anymore. 4 times, too many.
I don't know how to tell you this, Tim, but ping pong paddles aren't candy. You shouldn't eat ping pong paddles.
Well, you know what? I have got an aluminum ingot.
I thought you were gonna say I do.
This thing's crazy. It's
Okay.
it's just a chunk of metal,
The-
but I can't help but find myself like constantly playing with it. ASMR? Y'all like
get-
that?
I only got just the bare minimum on coming through on my side. Wow, literally nothing. That's crazy.
I mean, it's picking up
It is
on my end.
okay. I was like, the sheer fact that I'm not hearing anything is what's crazy to me. Because I was like, I know it makes sound. I've played with aluminum bar before.
Where do you get an aluminum bar?
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, um, now I will say I also think I could beat classic Saint Nicholas, the guy that like paid the dowry for women in Finland or something like that.
Yeah, you think you could take him?
Well, yeah, he was a rich guy. Rich guys are usually super easy to beat up because they're always old and frail. Imagine like if you had to fight Bernie Sanders or something. I feel like I could take him.
You think you could throw with Bernie Sanders, bro?
I mean, that's probably a weird comparison to Saint Nick. I don't think that I wouldn't say they're physical equals, but I'd say they're kind of close.
Bernie
Either
Sanders
him.
would body you, bro.
Now, to be fair, we could stretch the comparison. We could say like Richard Simmons, the workout instructor. He's still alive. And he's old. Maybe it's like Richard Simmons.
I'd never throw down with Richard Simmons. That just seems
I
like
know.
a losing battle.
I would be sweating with an oldie, and that's just not okay.
I mean, so the thing about this apocalypse scenario, right? I'm worried about it because no matter
I'm scared of this scenario because it seems like you or I, one of us, are being sent as emissaries to single-handedly just bare knuckle Santa Claus.
well, I'm thinking. Well, first off, Santa don't want it. Second of all, no matter how we do this scenario, everyone's not going to be happy because we have to build a Santa that everyone is agreeable to. And I don't
What, are we
know.
gonna do classic Coca-Cola Santa Claus?
All you have to do is give him Diet Coke. He'll explode immediately. You know that.
We'll give him Pepsi, and then he'll kill either himself or everyone.
I feel like it'd be the prior. No, it'd be the latter and then the prior.
Oh, okay. Well, most depictions of Santa Claus are based on the Coca-Cola ad campaigns, right?
No, I didn't. I thought Santa Claus was established and then they built that out after him.
No, the Coca-Cola does this all the time. They make pictures, and then people assume that they didn't come up with it, like the Coca-Cola bears. People thought everybody likes polar bears, but they were the ones that made the Coca-Cola
Everyone
bears.
knows polar bears never existed until Coca-Cola made that photo.
Yeah, but they
Jesus.
popularized the idea of having pictures of them and things like that. And then at Christmas they added in like a little guy in an outfit because why not? And they said that's Santa Claus, which is Saint Nicholas. Before that, Saint Nicholas was just like a priest or whatever in the Catholic Church.
It's kind of like Budweiser and the Clydesdale horses. They never existed until those beer commercials started. everyone knows Clydesdales aren't real. And if you think that that's the case, you're wrong. The King of
Kind of
Beer
like
would heavily disagree.
what company was it that popularized diamonds in America? Like, there's a lot of companies that have literally just changed how Americans view everything because they're like, oh, well, you don't know this. And that happened with diamonds. There was a company that said like, oh, well, diamonds are forever, and that's why you should use that as an engagement ring and a wedding ring and all that because your love is forever. But before that was sapphires, I believe, or the signet of a wedding or engagement or something.
So everything is essentially just a marketing tool. That's a bit depressing, though.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that some things are marketing tools. Pepsi marketed themselves so well that they owned 1/3 of the old Russian Navy.
What?
I've told you this before. Pepsi bought a portion of Russia's Navy in order to take Pepsi from America to Russia.
That's so stupid.
It was the sixth largest military power in the world.
Yo,
Pepsi Cola.
you know what's crazy to me? Like, I want to talk about this if you don't mind.
Okay, what is it?
So, whenever you hear the story, it's usually just lobster. But if you go back, it's not just lobster. It's all like non-fish sea creatures. So like all crustaceans, all things like that. They were poor people's foods. And then the poor people back during like old English times, if they had to eat it more than 3 times a week, they would put it like they started putting in complaints in droves because they didn't want to have lobster more than 3 times a week. They didn't want to have crab as their ration for more than 3 times a week. And now you go to Red Lobster, bro, you're spending $50 on yourself. And that's for a plate that might fill you up, or like you might get a to-go box and not eat it later because like old fish food is rancid. But that's just crazy, dude.
Well, so you know why a lot of that happens, right?
No.
Well, a lot of rich people would eat meats that are just kind of better in general, like people would eat steak or venison or something like that, and that was considered a better meat, and they wouldn't really have to spice it up all that much. And so the people that ate like poor man's food, like lobster or crab or whatever, without seasoning, it isn't quite great. I don't know if you ever had just lobster or crab without any seasoning on it. But so what they did was they figured out how to make it taste really good, and all the rich people were like, "Oh no, that's not really food for you. That's food for us." And so they'd pay poor people to cook it for them. That's where we get the New Orleans, Louisiana food po' boys or sandwiches made with like day old bread. Um, but
Really?
they're really famous now because the poor people would make them, and they would get like alligator gar or any kind of fish that they could fish up. They'd cook it, fry it, and season it, and then they'd make a sandwich out of it. And then people were like, hey, well, that's actually pretty good. And so then they started to be able to make money off of what was originally like charity
That is
because
kind of
they would
weird.
literally just buy
Johnny,
discounted
bro.
bread.
You're late, Johnny. 414,
I'm
you're
like,
late.
well, ask him what he thought the apocalypse scenario was because you said one thing and you think that he said something else.
No, we thought, not Noah, but Johnny, we thought, we thought that the scenario for this week was if Santa was a B&E criminal at large. But I remember at the last second it got swooped up and that wasn't the topic. So do you remember what last week's topic was? Because I'm drawing a blank, my guy. What were we supposed to talk about? Because now we're just talking about like seafood and like why it used to get a bad rap versus why it's like $60 now. And while I find that
Which isn't.
conversation riveting, it's not necessarily apocalypse worthy. Bro said, hold up.
Yeah, man. I could talk about several things. This is Tim. See, you're already in trouble. I told you to plan this out better, Tim. I told you.
We did have it properly planned. I forgot all about, by the way, hello Ghosted. But I forgot that we changed it at the last second.
She said it was a zombie apocalypse. Is that what you remember?
Yo, dude, if we do another zombie apocalypse scenario, we need to set aside like 2 hours for it and really, really come prepared. Because the last one we did was crazy. So
It did take quite a while, from what I recall.
So
And you still need to post those videos somewhere where people can see them.
that's true. Uh, in fact, I can do that tomorrow. I don't have plans to go anywhere tomorrow, so I can finally upload them. But yeah,
Everybody heard that. Next podcast, everyone can call out for shame if Tim has not done what he has promised.
that's true. Stole me to death. Um, but no,
And yet, until he can't hear anything, to death.
so what about? And I'm asking you live for your agreement. What about January's apocalypse scenario? We do a 2-hour special, Zombie Apocalypse 2.0, and we just build it up. Could you set aside 2 hours?
More than likely. Could you?
Yeah, I could. For sure. Most definitely, son. Hold on, we got to catch up on the chat, man. We are so far behind. Zombie Apocalypse, we covered that. We're going to do that. That's January's Apocalypse. We're going to...
He said firework incidents, and then we've got vampires.
Worst? Well, that's not an apocalypse scenario, but we could discuss our worst firework incidents.
I've surprisingly not really been almost killed by any fireworks.
You are a scrub, my guy. And then fine, you just watched Interview with a Vampire. So what would you do in the event of being in a world filled with vampires? Noah, have you ever watched Interview with a Vampire?
I've watched What We Do in the Shadows, and I feel like that's the most accurate vampire footage you can get.
Not even close. Not even true. Listen, vampire movies. It's like
we both watched that Dracula like short or whatever that was like 3 episodes or whatever, and
Yeah.
the whole first episode was like, what if he's gay? And then they just dropped that all together, and that was really strange.
Yeah.
I like nothing against that first episode or whatever, but it felt really out of place in context with the next 3 episodes.
Yeah, it felt like they wanted to like traverse his character as like a womanizing kind of trope, but they never built on it, so it never meant anything. So I think you and me feel similarly about Bram Stoker's Dracula. Good book, good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how it's written like a notebook. That's real. That's real interesting, and you get a little recipe for how to cook chicken in there.
It's good, and then you have classics like Nosferatu, 30 Days of Night. I only like 30 Days of Night because it's transformative. I think if you're gonna
like Nosferatu because it's referenced in SpongeBob.
That's true. Del Toro's The Strain. I have not read or seen Del Toro's The Strain, but I can watch it because I love scary movies, monster movies, all that stuff. No, whenever you come over, if I ain't got the vid, we can watch The Strain if you want.
Okay.
Cool.
You lied to me about Spider-Man, so I mean, sure, I'll agree to anything. We'll just see if it happens.
No, because we're gonna watch. If I ain't got the vid and you come over, we're watching it, and then we'll also dip into The Strain together as well, because apparently it's a series. But okay, back on Interview with the Vampire, right? If you ask, I love monster movies, but I feel like when it comes to vampires, the spectrum is like a piece of toast, and vampires are a very small piece of butter. And these producers and these writers have spread it so thin that by the time you've got a good smear of butter, everything else is melted, so you can't tell where the butter started. It's become way too stretched. Hold on. If you were in a world with bloodthirsty vampires wanting to rule the world, how would you survive? I'm gonna get to that, but I wanna go through this real quick. I enjoy Bram Stoker's Dracula for the same reason I thoroughly enjoyed Interview with a Vampire. It's informative. It's simple. It doesn't chase too far away from what a vampire is supposed to be. I feel like the issue with vampire movies, just like zombie movies, is you pull too far from the source material and you've ruined everything. You can either be transformative and interesting, like 30 Days of Night. I don't look at 30 Days of Night as a vampire movie. It's more or less just like a slasher. Or you could be too transformative like Twilight, and then you have a movie series that is considered by the masses to be great. But if you look at the demographic, you're getting like 13 to 38-year-old females. You've completely not necessarily ostracized, but you've isolated your demographic outside of men. So like
outside of mankind.
Outside of man. No, I don't know, man. It's just hard to meet that middle ground where, you know, your over masculine dudes can watch and be like, yeah, dude, blood and guts and yeah, death. And then you have that romanticism that, you know, your typical female would like. I say typical, just a blanket term here. Where it's like, there is
Now,
that
give me an example. Who's a typical female?
Silicon Valley. Oh, hold on. Johnny says, let's lay down what kind of vamps we're talking about. I'm talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula, Interview with the Vampire, Lestat, Louis, even Claudia. Very, very textbook vampire.
I'm talking about classic historian Vlad the Impaler sold his soul to the devil to save his wife. I'm talking What We Do in the Shadows. A bunch of guys, different centuries of vampires, just living together, being
So,
bros, trying to figure out what being a vampire is all about.
so I like this, and technically this is building up our scenario because we're doing Interview with the Vampire style vampires. So the thing about, yes, by the way, Johnny, daylight is your best weapon. The thing about this is these types of vampires, obviously, Interview is derivative of Dracula, but the lore fits the same universe really. So they are not necessarily mesmerizingly beautiful, but they are attractive in the sense that their skin is perfect, their complexions are perfect, they have beautiful eyes that are supposed to be like entrancing. They're not magical in that sense. They are just modified.
Well, they are red, which is a very rare eye color, which is quite entrancing if you've never seen somebody with red eyes.
Well, see, the reason I say it's derivative of Dracula is because Dracula is he's in the upper echelon, right? Like he's one of the original vampires. That's his whole thing. And then you have characters from Interview where it's like Louis and Lestat, and they're old, but they're not nearly as old as Dracula. So their eyes are like a snow white, kind of icy blue color, and then one of them is like an emerald green. They're insanely questionable. Like if you were to see somebody with those colors of eyes, it would be insanely questionable. You wouldn't immediately start screaming monster and running away, but it is one of those things where you see it and you're just kind of stopped for a moment. You're like, wow, that person's got beautiful eyes. Like that's crazy. And then, you know, obviously if you're an apex predator, you don't have the same weaknesses as humans. Whereas in 30 Days a Night, to kill a vampire, you have to completely eviscerate them. In Dracula,
You could do like in Dracula, you have to cut off his head, pour garlic down there. You know, there's like 16 steps or whatever. Like my man, he made sure he was very thorough.
and then in Interview, it's more like it's more like Bram Stoker's. It's either sunlight, it's deprivation of food source. I think No, I think in Bram Stoker's he lied about the stake to the heart. I think.
A wooden stake through the heart. I think that's it's a big hindrance to him, but it doesn't kill him. It just weakens
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
That's why in the end he like Van Helsing like cuts off his head and uses garlic and a bunch of other things and just really goes over the top, goes ham.
I think the only distinct difference between Interview with the Vampires, and Bram Stoker's Dracula is
They don't run up the walls like lizard people.
well they do, but Dracula does not like crosses, crucifixes, Bibles, anything religious. Whereas Interview with the Vampire, that's said to be a rumor, so they don't care about
Did you
anything religious.
So, did you know that in the original Bram Stoker's Dracula, he's afraid of like religious artifacts because, of course, he's based on Vlad the Impaler who sold his soul to the devil, and so he's actually scared of the devil under any or he's scared of a savior under any concept. So it's not actually just crosses that could scare him. Hindu symbols, Muslim symbols, any symbol of a deity would actually cause him to instill fear in his heart because he has the heart of the devil.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So it's just a weird thing that they don't really bring up a lot in the book, but I'm pretty sure there's like an interview that Bram Stoker stated, oh, well, it just so happens because he's in Romania or whatever, that's the primary religion. And so if it was in the scenario of other religions, that he would still be equally as afraid.
Another thing. They have to like they can only sleep in coffins. Like that's the same in both lexicons is coffins. That's like part of their bag. We need a way to fully gauge their strength and then build up a place that you can safe place to be during the night. So if we're
Well,
going off Dracula,
actually, Dracula's quite hospitable. He'll give you a place to stay for the night.
yeah, he's about the slow game. Whereas Lestat and Louis are like, they pick a target, execute the target, um, bam. Oh, they also have stronger rules to follow. Like Dracula can drain you dry, but in interview, they have to drain you to the point of death. But there's that rule of vampires where if they drain you to death and they don't stop, drinking a dead man's blood is incredibly poisonous to a vampire. Like it's almost insta death. Uh, from my understanding, Lestat survived it once, but it crippled him to the point where, in order to recover, he would have to have another. He would have to have his partner or whoever help him to recover throughout a myriad of obstacles, and then decades and decades of feeding, because it completely corrodes his system. So that's another rule that we could play by because we're doing Interview with the Vampires. So it's like Dracula with a twist.
So in in classic Dracula, there's that trope that he can't enter anywhere, that he's not welcome, and that goes along with the fact that he's a sworn gentleman. He owns land. He owns a sword. He would only do things that are polite. And of course, when he kills you, that's not necessarily polite, but also everything he does knowingly that's not deceitful is very polite, and that's why he wouldn't enter houses without permission or things like that. And so that's why there's a lot of confusion whenever people are like, well, vampires can't enter any places, they're not welcome. Well, like they can if they're scumbag vampires. He was
Yeah,
just happened to be a very polite vampire.
yeah. Whereas Lestat and Louis are like, oh well, if we need to get in, we'll just get in. Because you're thinking about like, they were around. Louis was turned in like the 16th, 17th century. Or no, Lestat was, and then Louis was like right out of the Revolutionary War type deal. He was like 26 or something. I watched this movie last night, so I'm having to
Oh,
recall it.
Tim. So what do you think about this? Johnny says a church would be safe. Do you think that even if invited, that Dracula could enter like a church or something like that?
I don't, because of his
Because well,
reluctancy to.
In Castlevania, Dracula does literally like live in a cathedral of sorts, and even in some other shows and stuff like that. So do you think it's specifically like a crucifix, or do you think specifically holy ground would also prevent the entry from a vampire?
Okay, so we can drill holes in that because I think you're onto something. I think John's onto something. Um, I think the term, because he says in the chat hallowed ground and all that. I think hallowed ground is the key term there. I think if a church is abandoned and no longer in use, it is devoid of what makes it holy. A house of God is only a house of God with the congregation. If it's not that, it's just a house. I think that's where
Okay.
you get the loophole for Dracula.
What do you think about I know in what is it, Castlevania 3 or 2? You can use holy water. Do you think holy water would create an artificial hallowed ground temporarily?
I think that's a, yeah, like a holy water, holy oil kind of thing. I would rather use holy oil because it saturates and stays liquid longer. But yeah, because I think the intention's there, right? Like it's not like you're just getting a bottle of Dasani and spritzing them. You're doing
Okay,
it
so
with the.
you think it's like the faith that's behind it that also stands to some of the power.
Yeah, because I don't think a heathen or whomever is going to come up with some holy water and then try to battle without the faith actually being there. I think that's an element. I don't think that's pivotal, but I think it's an element because, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see a non-believer getting holy water to fight a holy battle. That just doesn't make sense to me because if you don't believe it, what would make you believe in the water itself?
Okay.
So I think there has to be a religious context not only within the water or the church, but within the suggestions around it. I think it's
So
all.
are you saying that you think that holy people would have an advantage just in general, or like I guess religious people would have an advantage in general against vampires?
No. Um, my thought process for that is like we are born of sin, but a crucifix isn't born of sin. Water's not born of sin, but we are born of sin. So I don't think Christians or whomever, Christian, Buddhist, Jewish, I don't think religious people have an edge because in most religions you are born as a semi tarnished being from the jump, uh, or you are born to do sin bearing things. So I think that's kind of what gives Dracula an edge. It's if you don't have the things that make you close to your deity, you're just a dude. Like, you can get bodied, bro.
Well, it is kind of real lucky at the beginning of Dracula. Like, he's walking up into the castle and he goes through the town on his leash, which is a two-wheeled carriage. I had to look it up because whenever I read the book, I had no idea what a leash is. Um, and some person's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're gonna need this," and they give him a crucifix, and he's like, "For like what though?" And then after he sees that it gets like taken from him or something, and he finds it again later. He's like, "Oh, maybe he doesn't like those per se." So I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to even know that in advance that would be helpful or to come prepared
So
for that kind of scenario.
So when we do these, because I know, Johnny, you haven't been here long enough to see our other apocalypse episodes. So something we like to do is put ourselves against the odds, right? Because if we make it easy for us, then we have it. Like when we do this apocalypse scenario, it needs to be 2 hours because we have to build an entire legion against humanity. Whereas in this scenario, I think we should go with interviews rules more because it's harder to fight. They don't care about anything religious. They don't care about. They don't take gentlemanly rules, so they're not going to ask you to come in. So you only have a couple of like key things. We're gonna go with modern time, right? That's the only edge we're gonna give ourselves. We're in modern times, so this
We
is
have
like
an AK-47 with silver bullets. That's our only
they don't
edge.
care. They don't care about silver. They don't care. Um, so
With
like,
wooden bullets.
hold on. Personally, I don't believe religion would play a role in sanctuary. As an agnostic, I raise the question that if God is a real entity, what's the problem with vampires? How do we know that's true? I mean, without witnessing. If we witnessed, we could go with it.
Well, so under the assumptions for me that vampires exist, again, I'm going with the story of Vlad the Impaler, which is where he sold his soul to Satan. And if Satan exists, then there must be some form of religion that exists in this scenario, which is the only reason we're kind of rendering that a possibility.
Yeah. Plus, in the interview lore, there is talk of like God and the devil and um,
And a lot of
vampires
the
always
basis
being
is
there.
very, it's one of those things where the mythos of Dracula, which all creatures kind of come from some sort of mythos, even like Cthulhu and all that has its own mythos, and this mythos is particularly tied with like the
Oof.
Roman Catholic Church.
Could you imagine doing an apocalypse scenario against H.P. Lovecraft? We
Yeah,
lose.
that'd be easy.
We lose instantly.
Exogoth wakes up, everything disappears, we're done.
Um. So okay, we're in 2021. Someone blew the whistle, and we found out that vampires are among us. So
Yeah, the game.
we have, yeah, sus. So we have the number one indicator, right, which is the entrancing eyes, but there's no way. Yeah, I actually, John, I prefer the lore that begins with the three fallen angels. I think that that's the best iteration of vampirism ever. But we can get into that another time when I hang out with you. um,
Not
so
Satan himself.
well, he was one of
That's
the
that's.
he was one of the
Well, I
three,
get
but he
okay.
wasn't
Well,
he wasn't cursed to be a
that's fair enough.
vampire. He was cursed to be the king of hell. I don't remember the
And
name
so
of
the
the.
other. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk about that later. I only know of the story where he gives his soul over to Satan or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good one. We'll talk about it in the post episode. Um, so we can go with their eyes because they have the crazy eyes. Hold on. In fact, I can get the browser going.
The president of Nintendo of America, Bowser.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Tim, whenever these vampires that you're speaking about,
Hmm.
whenever they go without blood, do they die after a certain period, or do they just get extremely weakened after a long period?
From my understanding, they can go a long time without blood, but it does not take long for them to go into what I can only uh, compare to like hibernation. Like they just shut down, and then if they drink dead man's blood, they like pretty much become, to me, the closest thing to a corpse that they can't, like their body completely degrades to like uh down to bones. Like it gets nasty.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because I know uh, there's there's lots of different types, and some of them they say they can't go like a week or something without blood or they'll die. And some of them, they don't have to have blood, but it just makes them a lot stronger to have human blood.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you're in the live stream as well, Noah, but I've got the photo of the eyes pulled up. So, like, as I said before, you could see those eyes, and immediately that's going to be one of those things where it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Are they
And,
popping?
yeah, no, they're explosive. And I'm sure if somebody blew the whistle and was like, yo, we got vampires, fam, we got to figure this out. The first thing you would do is start looking for people with crazy eyes who you've only seen at night. But, like, this is a this is an apocalyptic scenario. So like you have to get the government behind you. Also, ask what rule do you need checked?
They would beat you easily, Tim. They would just use contact lenses. They would all look like they have brown eyes, and you're
Yeah,
lost.
see, so
They'd kill you immediately.
that's a flop. So like the eye thing's not gonna work because these people they've been around
But
hundreds.
Tim, no, Tim, you got to consider this. How are they going to put it in context? They can't use a mirror.
Oh, I mean you don't necessarily need a mirror to put contact lenses in.
They've never done this before, Tim. They've never done it. How? It's the first time. They'd have to have either a buddy that they trust around their eyes, or they'd have to have a mirror.
Okay, well we have to think about Interview with the Vampire, right? So a lot of them live in covens. So hold on, whoa. All right, contact lenses. You can do it without a mirror. Haha, Noah. Are we in a world where vamps are big in pop culture? Um, so here's where I'm at with it. Right, it's 2021. People love a hype train. So what I'm assuming would happen shortly after the whistle got blown is there are going to be vampires that stay dormant because apparently there are laws, right? Like laws that are payable only by death for the covens. So I assume some people are going to stay dormant, but some people are going to make it a marketing thing. Like some people are going to, oh, I'm a vampire, but I'm a musician. Buy my album. I'm sad. And then you have to roll the dice. Is this person really a vampire or are they just an a-hole? Hold on. So I would say there's a presence of them in pop culture, but there's nothing finite. Like there's nothing definite in terms of like is it or is it not.
Now, Tim, speaking back on mirrors, I would like to let you know. Do you know why vampires can't see their reflection in a mirror?
No.
Because in medieval times, mirrors would of course be backed with the shiniest metal that they could use, which was silver. And so, because they were backed with silver, the silver thing is kind of again their hindrance. Is that's why they can't see their reflection because it's going through a reflection of silver. Uh, Now mirrors, I believe, are made out of like chromium or some other weird mixture.
Okay.
So it's feasible that they actually could use mirrors, modern
Okay.
mirrors.
Well, we dive into a new area of issue here, because
They can use contacts.
in the movie he did not have a reflection, but the year they were like barely post revolution. Uh,
They could be an antique mirror. It's,
yeah, so that's where I'm at with it.
silverback.
Like, so we got to kind of roll the dice. So you in the chat, let us know: is it a silver thing? Are they deterrent to silver, or is it just they don't have reflections? Uh,
So the question would kind of be: do they not have reflections because they lack souls, or do they not have reflections because it's being reflected through silver,
but
which would be more sciencey principle?
keep this in mind though. If it's a silver related issue, that means that they are weak to silver, which gives us an edge. So take that into account when you make your decisions in the chat. They
If
have a
they
life.
lack a soul, then it gives us an edge if we have red hair, which neither of us do.
That's true. So they have a lifetime to practice, more than a lifetime in eternity. Yeah, but depending on how you guys answer this mirror question, they may not even need it. If they have mirrors, then we're screwed. Speaking of that, good lord, we're screwed. Zoomers will end us. That's incredibly true. Is Billie Eilish really that depressed, or is she capitalizing on a bunch of sad kids? We'll never know. That's the name of the game, baby.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we live in a. So here's the thing, man. We are not. There's so much tension in the world, right? Everyone has
Yeah.
nuclear missiles. everyone has a disagreement in politics. So the last thing our governments are going to want is a civil war with an
A
obstacle,
silver
a
war.
silver war with an obstacle we did not even know existed. So I imagine that the government would do one or two things. Number one being the most prominent, and that is completely ignore the problem
Yeah, I see that.
until it becomes a detriment to the politics at hand. Like, I just don't. We're not going to do anything that's going to make us look weak. I refuse to believe that. And having to go to like the UN or whoever you will and say, hey man, pause, flag on the play. We got vampires, bro. We got to fix that. And then we can go back to hating each other. We got Draculas on every single McDonald's block. Like, it's a problem. They're not going to do it. They're going to ignore it. Or they're going to go completely crazy and like court-martial people. And like, we're going to have to completely separate. And they're going to start doing tests and stuff. It's going to be insane. Hold on. The chat is... Vampires were apparently a good topic this week, my man. Mirrors aren't as frequently used as they used to be. That's true. But we're okay. So take mirrors out of it. Use reflections, because your camera is essentially just a reflection of what the lens is picking up. Do they have reflections? They're in bathrooms where there's privacy. Some people don't use them. Some people don't have them. Either way, you look in the mirror situation, they could just avoid public mirrors, so you can't use it as a method to know who is and who isn't. Okay, so we're not trying to figure out if the mirror thing is going to be our tool to tell who's a vampire or not. It's more or less, do they have a reflection in the light of silver? Because in old lore for vampires, silver would kill them. Like, upon contact, it just turn them to whatever it touched, dust. So that's what we're trying to get at.
Speaking on that, a key point in the original Bram Stoker story is that he has a toilet mirror in his possession. He looks through his bags and he can't find it after his first day there, and apparently he like leaves it on a counter or something, and it just disappears. And in the end, he finds out, of course, it's hidden away somewhere, and he finds it, and it's because Dracula took it because it wouldn't have shown his reflection, A, and B, it was made out of silver, so he thought it would hurt him. And so that's another point that lets you know that it's not necessarily mirrors in that case. In that case, it's a fact that it's backed with silver.
John raises a pretty good point. I mean, it's to our advantage, but it's still a good point. If the religious symbols aren't working, like if that's not in the interview situation, then it's probably not a mystical thing, which brings up
another point of holding a crucifix would be a traditional religious thing that is made out of silver. So it could be any religious silver charm, because again, it's a silver charm in general.
So with that, I mean, Ghost, unless you have an opposing theory, I would say that they're weak to silver. Like they don't like it. It doesn't show their reflection. And are we gonna go with insta-death, or what do we want to go with there?
Oh, they're weakened by silver. They're not murdered by silver.
Okay. So
they have to be incinerated on a cross with garlic poured down their throat. That's the only way to kill them.
So here's my thing. This is another situation where, what about the silver jewelry they wear in an interview? I can only imagine that it's not really silver. I saw a lot of
tarnished iron.
Yeah,
copper,
it could be
bronze.
Yeah, but we don't know that. That's the issue. That puts us at a stalemate again, because
everybody, let's pause this. We're going to rewatch the whole thing. We're going to come back to it.
Yeah, they had jewelry, but we didn't know if they had silver specifically. But I mean, in the movie, it never says that they have a... Okay, so we're going to put ourselves at a critical disadvantage here. So they don't have a reflection in silver, but they're also not weak to silver. So they get a con, but we also get a con. And I guess that's the only way we can mediate that situation, is to just kind of meet it in the middle. Also, no, whenever you come over, if I ain't got the vid, we need to set up a third Discord window so we can have guest callers, because it'd be cool to have people like call in, do like a minute or two of their explanation, and that'd be sick.
It'll save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then Tim, what is our critical piece of knowledge that we would need to know to actually destruct a vampire?
From my understanding, in the movie they never talk about it, but it is shown to be effective. Our methods of murder here are either incineration or decapitation.
Or both, like Van Helsing.
Because like mortal wounds doesn't matter to them because they're immortal. So like if you slice them open, they'll just heal. But Louis does kill like a half a coven of vampires by decapitation, and that seems to work.
Well, it could be that it takes them a long time to heal from decapitation. Were they outside? Because that could still be sunlight.
Well,
If it takes them more than a day
here's
to
my
put
thing,
themselves back
right?
together.
Because Lestat gets lit on fire. He gets lit on fire. Excuse me. Lit.
He gets a Pokemon on fire. That's crazy.
Yeah, he gets lit on fire, but he makes it. So I don't know if it's a duration thing or like. So
Well, I think they have to be burned to their bones, technically, to be burned to death as a vampire would. Kind of like a witch. A witch isn't dead if you just burn them a little bit. They have to be burned to death.
okay. So with that, right, it becomes a matter of like, I don't think no matter the situation that we're gonna allow people to torture people and burning someone down to their bones. That's gonna take some time and some heat. And
I know a guy with a forge. We could just drop them right in.
that's true. Or we could use napalm because napalm.
We could carpet bomb them just like we did. Hold on.
I mean, napalm is nasty, man. Like it pulls muscle from the bone, and then yeah, it does its job. So yeah, Johnny's like, I can handle this. You send them to my house, they're dead.
They're done.
He's the Slayer, man. He's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, except not at all.
He's Johnny the vampire.
He's Johnny.
He's Van Helsing.
So
All I need is a crossbow lined with laced with silver.
someone's trying to be Guts, but without the reckoning. John, if you were Guts, bro, jeez. That's my favorite protagonist, but also kind of an antagonist. I love Guts. John
Your
Helsing.
favorite protagonist?
So we got to get down to brass tacks here, right? Because I got a feeling it's 8:50 right now. I got a feeling it's gonna go a little past an hour, and that's okay. But we got to get a brass tacks. Can we survive it, right?
Yeah, I'm literally just gonna go. Hopefully, to Alaska would be the better option if it's that time of year. That means we don't have 30 days of dark. We have 90 days of light. It's way better. We're at an optimal advantage as long as we just stand out in the open air. Or you could go to the other side of the Earth to Antarctica if it's the wrong season, but it would be very hard to get into Antarctica as it is a all country area. So it's just there's not a lot of hot stuff going on there.
So
Not too many flights.
there are ways. Okay, so I guess that's effective, right? Because you're gonna have more people that are like-minded like that. Like instead of fighting the problem, just let nature do it for you. And going somewhere where you have a ton of daytime, and like if you just put a tent in a big old field, you could just sleep in your tent, and you don't have to worry about anybody getting to you because they get in the sun, they immediately start to like go full crispy. So, I mean, I guess it's effective, just wait it out. But you have to have the ability to survive during the wait because I have no clue.
You'd have water because you'd have snow, but the issue I think would be literally everything else.
Yeah, the elements, nature, like it's gonna be a problem.
Well, now if a polar bear came up to me and I had AK-47 or something, I would have not only no longer a polar bear, I would then have a meal for the next 2 or 3 weeks because it's on ice. It's in the refrigerator.
So here's where I'm at with it. I think we can survive. We are not doing Queen of the Damned. That movie completely desecrated the lore of Interview with the Vampire. So Queen of the Damned is out.
Ooh, harsh words. That's coming from Tim. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, the movie was all right. Like as if it were a standalone film, great movie. But as a loose sequel to Interview, it makes no sense, bro.
Well, I'm basing all mine on the loose sequel, The Son of Dracula, because I feel like that one was the most accurate.
The journey there would be perilous. That's very true. It'd be very hard to pull off. You need money, resources. You need like a unit of people that aren't vampires. Like
And a unit of people that probably taste pretty good because, again, I'm telling you, you're gonna run out of resources in a
Fact.
tent with eternal sunlight.
Well, the queen literally teleported to an island. Why couldn't she teleport to a mountain? I mean, if we were
What?
doing Queen of the Damned, we'd be so like this isn't even a competition because as soon as you get like the old ancient vampires awake, we're dead, bro. They could teleport, they can like terraform on a mass scale, like just explode things with the brain. It's insane. So we can't do that. Otherwise, it's an auto lose. Johnny's at the wrap up of the episode. We built all this stuff, and Johnny's just like, "We're screwed. We're dead. Look at me. Look at me in my eyes. We're so dead, bro. We're so dead." I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like they can't teleport personally if they're a true vampire because they turn into a bat. They have to be classic vampires. That's how they travel somewhere quickly. But they still can't do that in direct sunlight. Even teleporting or whatever through direct sunlight will cause them harm because whatever material they're made out of is going through sunlight. But that's me. I could be wrong there.
I think, unfortunately, my closing thoughts on whether or not we survive is completely dependent on where the money's at. Are the rich in the know and trying to solve the problem, or are the rich compromised?
The rich are definitely going to be compromised. You're telling me that not a single rich person's a vampire right now?
I mean, they're all vampires right now, but are they
They're either
vampires of
lizard
like a
people,
mythological sense?
aliens, or vampires. And I mean that's just the way it is.
So, classic vamps would be affected by crosses. Yeah, if we were dealing with classic vamps, that's a whole, like, that's a winnable battle. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
if we
sure. I
were
mean,
able to impale them with a wooden stake, I feel like we could probably get that one done because wood's fairly cheap. I mean, it's more expensive now because of inflation, but it's fairly cheap compared to a lot of silver or a lot of artificial sunlight.
so here's, you know, I say we can win depending on where the money's at. But there's a feature of this, and I'm glad that we're close to the close of the episode because this is a feature that I think is kind of a tide turning thing. Vampires have something that I would say the upper percentile of people want, and
The ability to fly.
immortality.
Oh,
People are scared of death, and we're living in an age where religion is growing more and more scarce. Whether you consider that to be a good or a bad thing is your business. But if you don't have any thoughts of an afterlife or any ties to a deity, then death is terrifying. So why would you not sacrifice a little bit of your morality for the sake of being immortal? And I think that
well,
would cause.
now to be fair,
Okay.
even if you are religious, I feel like there has to be some fear of death. I mean, even in like if you look at the Bible itself, Peter steps off the boat with Jesus. Jesus is right there in front of him. He's like, I mean, if you have full faith in me, you won't sink. And then he's looking at Jesus, and he starts sinking. He's like, wait, hold on. So I mean, people have doubts, just literally, even when something's right in front of them. So
I
I feel
mean that
like there's
that
no way that even if you are religious, you should still be worried about what happens after this.
that kind of furthers my point though, because this is gonna start. I mean, granted, it fails both parties in the end, right? Because either the prey is gonna overpopulate, or they're gonna have to start creating human farms, and that's when it turns into warfare. Or
And that's when it turns into the Matrix.
yeah, exactly like that. Um, but
It's an HBO exclusive.
I think it would take one dummy getting turned to throw the whole chance of us winning off. Because, John said earlier that we're going to get killed by Zoomers. That has a high likelihood, man. Some old head sees somebody dying and decides to keep him from dying by turning them. That kid turns around, runs off, and starts turning all his buddies, and their buddies turn their buddies, and now we have a huge cult of vampires.
Well, there's another thing to really consider, and I'm not going to intentionally insult anybody, hopefully. But speaking on Zoomers, a lot of the older generations have experienced at least one war in their lifetime, uh, whereas everyone in our generation, has been Afghanistan and Iraq and all that, but that's only for the people that signed up and wanted to serve their country. a large percentage of America has never seen war, has never been exposed to that. They don't have that mindset. So if it was genuinely a war of vampires versus people, if some person in the older generation was a vampire, they have a completely different mindset than if it was the newer generation that had become a vampire.
That's true. I mean, I'm sure we'd be able to pull some strategies out, but like, there's a difference between a strategy on paper and a strategy on a battlefield. And I don't know, man. I think if the right amount of people get turned at the right amount of speed, and I do believe it would happen at a very quick pace, a violently fast pace. I don't think there's much of a chance we could have. Like, I think, you'd have your outliers of like people running off, doing the Alaska thing, or just completely going off the grid and biding their time, just living in fear until they die. But that's in any apocalypse scenario that doesn't involve like full worldwide nuclear winter.
Yeah,
I mean, humanity's gonna survive unless it is destroying the world itself. That's the only thing I can say for humanity. We are incredibly survivable creatures. You'll always have an outlier of humanity. However, in terms of like 7 billion people, no, dude, you could wipe that right. You could wipe that down. That's not gonna happen.
not even a little bit.
But I mean, if I was on the opposite side, I feel like if I became an immortal being with like a thirst for blood, and I knew the detriments of not getting that, uh, I feel like your morality would go quickly. Especially, being millennials in a world where we need instant gratification. We need to know what the end result is, and we need to know the fear of the consequences so that we do everything we can to avoid them. I think human farms would be like my plan A. Like, find a group of people, we promise them that we won't kill them, but they're going to populate, and we're going to feed on them regularly. Like, it just seems like the most rational thing to do. It's infinite food. But I mean,
Okay.
I am speaking to the side of the enemy here.
Uh, well, I mean, it does beg a certain question because there were, of course, in Castlevania and in What We Do in the Shadows and several other like vampire themed things, even Dio and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that when they become a vampire, they get a sense of elitism. They don't really want anybody else to be a vampire, so they would much rather farm people or just kill people. They wouldn't really want to make more vampires.
Yeah, and that's so easy to do with the world we live in, man, because there's such a romanticism behind things that aren't us. Like, people have romanticized the Joker and Harley Quinn since like the 80s, but if you look at what that is beyond surface level, you don't want that. You don't want that. That's not even hot at all. Do that next vamp scenario. Research the vamps from the strain. Bruh, I will. Me and Noah will watch the strain and get some vibes on it. But dude, we romanticize things that I get it. You romanticize it because it's bad, right? Like, you want it because it's not something you can have, and because it's something that like makes you think, oh, I shouldn't be doing this while you're doing it. But that would play to such a detriment in this scenario because you have people who would willingly be the cattle to these vampires just because they may not want to dedicate, but they want to be a part. Like, I don't. I feel like our hubris would be our downfall, for sure.
Well, no, I also do feel like it would become super easy as soon as if you did get chosen to be a vampire. I mean, you'd be on the winning team. You'd have the advantage then.
So I don't think. I mean, unless like early on, like early on, humanity just completely militarized. Like, every town's got a Minutemen militia. Uh, there's like normal dudes can court martial people, and like you could kill people. Like, unless we go Wild West,
Now we're going Salem witch trials if that's what's going on because you got to burn them.
that's what I'm
Wild West
saying.
style, you only shoot them.
Like, unless we go straight up Wild West, and like states and cities and towns can just
I think
deem
we're actually
someone
going.
a vampire and just kill them in the street, just on the spot.
I think we'd have to actually go more World War II, Flammenwerfen from when they would just throw flamethrowers and kill just Jews on sight, just insta death because which isn't. I'm not saying that's okay, but in the scenario that I feel like that's kind of our go to ticket is suspect somebody of being a vampire, Flammenwerfer.
Kill them on sight. And then, Johnny just said humans are resilient, man. And we are. That's why I said the thing about there always
We
being an
are.
outlier. Like, we'll never, unless the world dies, we're not going to die, dude. We'll always find a way to keep
We're gonna be
numbers.
the one that kills the Earth.
Well, that's true.
So
If anything's taking out this planet, it's going to be us, bro.
we've invested so much time, so much effort. If anyone does it, it's us.
But, like, if you think about it, these things are just humans with sharp teeth, bro. Like, they fit in.
With four sharp teeth.
Yeah. They fit in. They're way more adept in terms of like predator versus prey. They outclass us on the food chain. We can wield guns, but also they can wield guns. So it's just how fast is their army growing, and who's gonna realize that it's a war first. You know what I'm saying? Like it comes down to who's gonna pull the trigger first, and who's willing to
We see
spend it.
that. You do see that a lot. A lot of the like vampire tales is that the person becomes a vampire and nobody really knows it, and so then they like kill one person and then they like kill two people and they kind of slowly ramp it up until they like kind of have a whole town, and then it doesn't become a war until they've already claimed like a fair amount of territory.
It would it would single handedly be what caused like America to go back to Wild West style living, man. Like,
It's the wild wild west.
I mean, it would have to, right? Because I thoroughly believe, and I mean, you can look at it however you want. You can look at me however you want. That's your business.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
I don't think the government would get involved adequately enough, fast enough. And I think once numbers start shifting, you looked up. You needed to look down. um, I feel like,
Shut up.
yeah. Now you're looking at me. I feel like once that tide started to turn, we'd turn against the government because we feel like they're not doing enough. I don't know, man.
That's right. Then it's us and the vampires versus the government, the real battle.
I mean, that's what it. It's a shame, dude, but that's what it would be, right? Because we're we as millennials and the Zoomers and whatever you want to call it, we're already very speculative of every single move the government makes. So like, if this were to happen and we didn't see instant results, like I said, man, we almost demand instant gratification. So with that, and people dying and being transformed into monster folk, dude, there'd be no hold bars. Like we'd go to war with everybody. There would be no more states, no more of this crap. It'd be territories almost. It'd be a mess, dude. There's no way. Like there's no surviving it in terms of like we beat the vampires, there's no more vampires. It would just come down to straight survival at that point. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with it. You can counter argue or build upon it if you want, but that's where I'm
I
at.
think everything you said is wrong. I think that you are foolish.
Go for it.
That's my counter argument. That was it.
Got it. Strong, very strong.
Thank you.
I don't know, man. It's just so shot. Like John agrees. This zombies thing, I'm very excited for January now because I'm very excited to see how deep we go with the zombie thing. So let's build this right now, right? What kind of zombies? What are we talking about? Because once we know what kind of zombies we're dealing with, you and me can do a little. We have a month. We can do a little bit of research and build our statement and see if we're pre patient zero or post patient zero. We need to know what kind of zombies, and are we pre or post patient zero. There are 5 people in the chat. You help us decide. This is going down next month. You are building the episode right now, so I hope you enjoy that. What kind of zombies are we dealing with? And are they already infected? Or are we pre-infected and we're building up to it? What do you guys want to hear next month?
Also, Tim's going to go back and watch our old episode to make sure that we don't overlap too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there has to be a virus, and it'll
Yeah,
be called the Wu-Tang virus.
it would be 28 days later we lose. Done. Episode over.
Easy.
Episode over. Humanity loses. Uh I mean if we can get two people to agree on what type of zombie virus, we can go with that. 28 days later, that's going to be yeah, even John's like, "Dude, we're dead." We are so dead. Uh but yeah, anything's on the table. If we don't know it, we'll look it up. 28 days later, Walking Dead with a twist, The Last of Us with a twist. You can do a virus and then throw a spin on it if you want. So if you guys want like
It'll
the
be I Am Legend, except for Tim's my dog.
dude, that's pretty much Walking Dead with a 28 days later twist. The Last of Us. Okay, so we got 128 days later on the table and one The Last of Us from the same
Is the
person.
twist that Tim gets shot through the heart with an arrow, or is that
Uh,
standard?
Dead or curable. That's gonna be when we decide how late we are into the situation. Like, are we
I'd
pre?
hope they would be curable, but I feel like that's just not feasible in most cases.
Well, in my opinion, right? Because they're talking about making a cure in The Walking Dead, which if they do, if they don't, doesn't matter. But in my opinion, if there's a zombie and the zombie's like head is half chewed off and its intestines have spilled out many moons ago, I don't care what penicillin shot you give it. That's dead. That person's gone. Uh,
Yeah, that was what I was implying. I don't think a serum would do all that much for a large portion of the zombies because they would have to have been attacked by a zombie to become a zombie themselves. And most zombie attacks, they're not just going to scrape them with their fingernail.
but let's figure out what pandemic we're in, and then let's figure out where we are in the situation, and then we can build from there. So, what do you guys agree on? I personally, I like The Walking Dead, but I'd want a more difficult twist. So, if we did do a Walking Dead with like a Last of Us twist or a 28 Days Later twist, I'm cool with that.
I personally prefer plants versus zombies because that one seems to be the most accurate representation.
That's just The Last of Us, bud.
What?
Plant zombies, dude. That's The Last of Us.
No, I said the game Plants versus Zombies. Do you not know that game?
Well, all we need is a lawnmower.
Yeah.
The longer they're infected, the worse they get. That's true. And then if we're doing The Last of Us 2, they're like different, like zombies have grown.
They get superpowers.
Um, so as of right now, we only have 28 Days Later and The Last of Us on the table. I pitched The Walking Dead with a twist. Noah, do you have an opinion?
I pitch. What is it? I Zombie.
No. Just no.
Why are you so disappointed, Timmy?
Because you've upset me.
Well, you know me. What is it? Kabernaki and the Iron Fortress. That's a good zombie one. Have you ever seen Kabernaki and the Iron Fortress?
No. Why are you picking abstract things? Pick something normal.
Tim, these people made Attack on Titan, and they said, you know what? We want to try something else. They made a zombie anime, and you didn't watch it. That's not my fault. That's your fault. They were cool zombies. They literally drill into a train with their bare hands, and it's
Oh, are you talking
crazy.
about Cabaneri?
That's what I just said. Kabernari and the Iron Fortress.
I haven't watched that yet. I want to though. I'm waiting for the. I got out of the chat by accident. Hold on. Yes, because at that point it's been forever. Like they've been around for a while.
That's
I like
right.
iZombie. No,
That's
it's
right, John. That's right, Johnny. It's a good show, and Tim should love it.
I wish I could make a poll. I want to make a poll. Like, where are we
You
at?
can on like Facebook or Twitter or something,
I mean, I'm
and then
just
they would have a long time to get that all the gaps filled in.
the only way you get to vote on what kind of zombies we're doing is if you're in this stream right now.
Because as soon as we close that tab, all chats are gone. All
Dead.
chats.
So pick a virus and pick a time. Where are we at in the infection, and what zombies are we dealing with?
Uh, it looks like we've already been told to do oh, John doesn't have Facebook. John, or Johnny, how do you even find this Twitch every time? Do you like have it saved?
Do you have a save?
Of course, I have it saved. I open it up as a reflex.
All right, we got one The Last of Us. This is the official vote. We have one The Last of Us, which is
Oh,
already terrifying.
I'm gonna go with Carbonari and the Iron Fortress.
Okay, so
Wait,
one.
no, hold on. I change it. I want to go to Train to Busan because I've been to the train station where they have one of the fights. I actually have been to 3 of the train stations where they have the
All
fight.
right, so we got one Last of Us, one Train to Busan. I'll save my vote.
He watches this on the Xbox. That's so cool.
Yeah, man.
We're being watched on somebody's Xbox right now.
John, what zombies do you want, bud? And do you want a twist? Do the
And
twist.
would you like any modifications to that, sir?
Ghost says she'll vote twice.
Oh, he didn't like. Did you not like Train to Busan, John? I liked that movie. It's
He's
pretty
probably
good. It's the guy.
talking. He's probably talking about Papa Korea, and if that's what he's talking about, yeah, f that. I agree with him. That was sad. That was my favorite character.
Yeah, I really liked the big guy. He's really famous in Korea, and then he died in the movie. He's not really dead. He's still alive and does movies.
Okay, well, Walking Dead zombies are just like Train to Busan zombies. So what if we did What if we did the Walking Dead zombies with a The Last of Us twist? Ghosted, would you be cool with that?
I just want to have a train so that we can get away from the zombies. And that's both of my suggestions involve trains because I'd like to be away from the zombies to plan
Well,
a little
just for
bit.
you, whenever we
And
do
then,
the scenario, uh, we'll have trains nearby on deck. Nope, she
because in
said
America,
no.
they'll have a whole lore. Yeah, they are really fast. So are the Kaberneki zombies. They're super fast and they can drill into the trains with their bare fists if they are strong enough zombies. So my scenarios are pretty scary. You just have to be able to travel a lot.
Well, see, I was thinking Walking Dead zombies, but like the spore thing. So like they spread
I
through
played the game Spore before.
no, they spread through
Not like that.
spores. They're fungal zombies.
Well, then how would we not get infected? Literally immediately being in the general area of a
Bro,
zombie.
anywhere that's compromised, you have to wear a respirator. It's pretty nasty, bro.
So basically we would be dead if it just happened in the same house as us.
Yeah, if you inhaled it, you're done
I would never inhale. I would never inhale that.
in your life. I honestly, I can cut and dry that right now. I feel like if it were the Last of Us scenario, we're kind of effed. Like I don't see much of a
Yeah,
win.
I don't even own a respirator. I just have a mask that doesn't even really protect me from the current virus.
So I think we kind of have to do the Walking Dead, but we could throw a twist on it. Do you want to make them run like in Cabaneri?
The twist is that we have a train. We have a very good train that has a very good air system.
Ventilated.
Ventilated train.
The spores collect in specific locations. The infected. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, Last of Us is really intricate with how its zombies like play out. So, considering I feel like we would lose very quickly in The Last of Us, we should do like classic Walking Dead style zombies. Um,
But we have trains.
but we have
But
trains.
there's trains.
Is everyone cool with that? Like, is that agreeable? We can do like twist like you have some runner zombies, you have some zombies that like learn to climb ladders. Because in the
I'm
show,
telling you, Tim, you need to watch that show because then you'll see not only do they climb a ladder, they drill into a train with their bones.
you were really into this. I want to watch Cabanari now. I will watch it.
Yeah, and then it would be a much better discussion because you know what I was talking about.
I'll watch Cabanari before. I mean, I have a month, bro. She says she doesn't think that they would. I think that if we went about it the right way, we'd be able to make it work. I don't know. We have so many votes going in different directions. I don't know. John, you're our wait. No, he already voted. Hold on.
Tim, you're the last vote. The twist is that there's also classically accurate vampires.
No, John hasn't voted. He just said Busan zombies are fast. John, be the tiebreaker. We doing The Last of Us or we doing The Walking Dead?
He said Walking Dead with a twist. He says it right here. Walking Dead W twist.
Oh, that's right. All
The
right, and
the,
then
the twist is that it's also Train to Busan.
all right, so they're fast zombies.
They are able to do Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies. They can get up a good hustle.
So we're doing The Walking Busan next month.
Well, they're walking. We're training because
So I need to rewatch Train to Busan just to make sure I didn't miss any pivotal details.
and the sequel. Don't forget, you gotta watch the sequel
Not
as well.
watching the sequel.
Why?
Because I don't want to do that. They're already making an American Train to Busan, so gag me.
That doesn't make any sense. There's no trains in America that people commonly use as a form of common transport. It makes no sense. But the sequel is decent from what I understand. I haven't seen it yet because I liked Train to Busan and I was in Korea when the sequel
John don't
came
like
out.
no fast zombies, but he's gonna have to deal with. I mean, they won't. I think it's gonna be a very like specific scenario, right? Like I think if a zombie has been like feeding rampantly, then like I think there's a, you know what, we'll build that, but there's gonna be a certain scenario in which the zombies will be able to like 28 days later sprint. It's not gonna be all of them because once again we'd be dead. I'm not built for speed. I'm built for power. Power.
Power hungry Tim.
I think they could if they have not broken any limbs.
So if they've broken a pinky, they can't run.
Yeah.
If they've broken just one pinky.
They cracked that collarbone. No sprint for you, buddy boy.
Oh, the vote changes.
He's changing his vote. All right, after this change, I'm locking it in, so you better make it worth it.
He said, "I am legend." He said he wants it to be exactly like I am.
Those
legend.
aren't zombies. Those are vampires, technically.
Okay.
No.
He went back. She paid him off. She paid him off. How much money did she give you, Johnny? How much money?
Ghosted. Stop paying my friends for their allegiance.
I want to know how much money she gave you because I want double. If I have to talk about it, I want double.
All right. Okay. We got to do Last of Us zombies, which means.
Do they come with a backpack? I know that the game came with a backpack.
Jesus Christ, this plan just. All right. So we've picked it. It's The Last of Us. Where are we at?
Is there a train?
Where are we at? Are we on patient 0 or are we deep off into it? Because that's actually very important.
We're on a train. The twist is there are trains.
John, you've never played it and you picked it. I'm very upset with you, young man.
John, how could you dive so far into something you've never even played?
Jesus Christ.
We are not
Dude
your
said
lab
he
rat.
gets to learn. Yeah, you get to learn. Agonizing us.
I get to learn too. I don't play zombie games. I just sometimes watch the movies.
All right, Ghosted, you coerced my friend, so you tell us where we are in the scenario. Are we pre-patient 1 or are we deep off in it? How trucked are we? Also, no one said it so far, not at least in the chat. So can I get a Dale yeah in the chat, please?
Can I get a Dale? Yeah.
If no one's gonna do it, I'll do it. I'll always be there to do it. Ghost is taking forever to let us know. Yeah, we got a Dale yeah, boy.
Dale yeah.
If we start at the beginning of the infection,
it's just Omicron COVID.
like COVID is the starting virus. So, like under the interpretation that we are in current day, and like what the Omicron virus is, the Omicron is the like people have inhaled spores and now they're like waiting to transform. Spell it out for me. The Ligma variant.
No.
I'm not trying to catch that, bro.
It's the Sugon D's variant.
I just want a fan named Dale. Can we find a Dale and like pay him to watch us?
If you set up our number one fan and a Twitch account, I'm sure you could make his name. You still haven't got him back in here.
In reality, people are getting sick and overrunning hospitals. Okay, so these people. Okay. So this Omicron is really the spore virus. So we would need to pick like places in the world where people are a lot. COVID was the cause. Okay, so we're not doing spores, we're doing COVID, and COVID is a zombie virus? Because I feel like that's got some political views around it.
You want a couple political views?
Government?
The government is the zombies, and we have to kill the government.
All right, I think I see what you're saying. So we're going to replace COVID with the spore situation, which means that we're like a year into it when we start. Which means that we're kind of like we're still kind of squirming. The zombie virus is the Last of Us virus, but we're using our pandemic as a source instead of the lore in the game. Okay, so yeah, we're like a year and a half, 2 years into it, which means we're still squirming, trying to figure it out. There are actively millions of zombies. And Noah, have you ever played The Last of Us?
I played the first of us. I never got around to the sequel.
All right. So I'll explain the variants to you on when we get to that episode. Because if we're doing a 2-hour special, I'd like you to know what we're fighting against. And also, John's never played it, so I need to explain to him what he's up against whilst trying to help humanity win.
So basically, you've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the game recently, so it's still fresh. But explaining it to two people, and then one person who's going to be highly speculative because she loves the game. It's gonna be pretty fun. I feel like building it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but it's gonna be cool.
I feel like we can do it if Tim is very well prepared.
You got to prepare too, bud.
I will go buy the backpack tomorrow, and we'll see what happens from there.
All right. But on that note, Ghost is going to help, so that's good. You have to call me with details. I will. I'll make sure you're well equipped. Hopefully by that time, we'll have our new browser window up so we can have call-ins. It would be cool to have a call-in to help us struggle. But in terms of today, that's all, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's been rather quick with the vampire stuff. We lost, but hopefully we don't lose next time.
I still don't see a link on this post. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at this post. I don't see a link.
It's too late. It's too late.
I liked it for you, even though there's no link. There's no link.
But I hope if you showed up tonight, even if you were late, John, that you had a good time and you're excited for next week. I was going to say what next week. Huh?
I don't even know what we're talking about next week. What are we talking about next week?
I can pull up the topic list.
Okay, just pick one.
While we're on the stream?
Sure, yeah, we'll pick one and we'll do it. If somebody says no immediately, then we won't do it. But if you pick one, then we'll do it.
Okay. That mic is... Oh...
What's wrong with your mic?
It's just the whole thing, man.
Oh, you were late too? Why were you late? What's wrong? What's happening?
Probably picking her nose.
13. That's what I would say if somebody was genuinely picking their nose. But I don't know that, so that was an artificial. Oh, she was working.
I hope one of them's gag sensitive and you're making them like try not to heave right now.
Yeah, it's a group effort. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why Johnny said yo. It's because he's trying not to lurch himself as well. He's dealing with babies.
Yeah, he's got.
Wow,
kiddos.
That's way more important. Yeah, his excuse way better than Barely Ghost did. She was working, earning money.
Disgusting.
That's not a baby. That's not a baby. Has nothing to do with babies.
All right, I got the topic list pulled up.
All right,
it's
read
loading.
off one. Read off one.
We have an apocalypse scenario, and here we haven't done. Nuclear fallout. We can do that after zombies. I feel like we've gotten really amped about the zombie thing, so we should stick to it.
Yeah, everybody will be very disappointed if we fall back onto something.
Yeah, we're gonna do a 2-hour zombie special next time. So our options, and I can't see the chat, so Noah, you're gonna have to relay the chat to me. So we have weird hobbies, i.e., my model kits and your collection of abstract games and consoles, or just weird hobbies in general.
Johnny has just posted that he just wants to slay.
He does.
That's all caps SLAY.
He already slays. Wrist flap and everything.
Oh, okay.
How
Good.
our academic careers influenced us as adults. So like I guess that would fall under our time in high school, our meeting in college, what we went through in college, the whole 9 yards. That seems like a very.
I'd like to just point out. I said read one of these, not the whole list. Just pick one. We're going to go with. You look through them all. You're giving away too many details about what could happen in the future.
That's true. I'll just give us 2 to choose from.
Okay, is that the 2?
No.
Well then, Johnny has tons of weird hobs. We could have Johnny on next week.
That's true. Especially if I don't got the vid and you come over and help me set up a third window browser, we could do that, baby. Okay, so this is a good one, right?
Yes, that's correct. It is the 3rd of January.
Oh, that's a really good one. That's another apocalypse
January,
episode. Yeah. All right, so topic number 1 that we're choosing from. What would be the most realistic amount of money you'd want to win? Like, what would have you set until you die? Like, what would you want to win?
We've had someone that says we should talk about New Year's and just revel in the stories of that, which is New Year's.
No. Hold on, let me go to the chat. I don't want to be rude.
Well, you'll see who said it, and then you'll get beat up later today. So,
like, we can talk about our New Year's and our resolution. Next Monday. That's like, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, we should open the episode with that at least. But yeah, because we could fit bad fireworks stories in with that, right? So we could talk about bad fireworks stories and New Year's resolutions, or Plan B, and I'll let you guys decide once again because y'all are really the host of the show. We just talk. Let's dissect cults. How do they tick? How do they manage to operate today? And what is the most interesting one that we can think of and talk about? So cults,
you're just reading off the list.
Yeah. So our options are, and I'm not reading from the list anymore. So cults or the New Year's episode. What are you guys thinking? It would make sense to do the New Year's episode. So if you vote for that, I won't hold it against you.
Well, we gotta have a submitted vote. If we don't have a submitted vote, we can't count you as having participated, and you'll be marked absent from class.
That's true. It means you're a dirty, dirty bot. Also, I don't know why I'm like just wielding my microphone, but I feel like I sound better like this.
You don't look any better. I've noticed that.
There's nothing I can do about that, buddy.
Oh. Well, I paid $300, so hopefully my camera gets fixed.
Oof. Yeah, it should. If not, we can just stick zombies on them. All right, so we got one New Year's. Ghosted, where are you at? What do you want to do?
She's thinking about it. She's potating it.
Think about it. Don't worry. If we don't do the cult thing next week, we'll do it later because it's on our list. It is a little. Oh, hold on.
New Year's is a little what? What kind of New Year's are you having?
I think he's talking about the microphone thing.
Yeah, he's talking how you keep putting it in your mouth seductively.
Yeah, well, it wasn't in my. Let's be clear, it wasn't in my mouth. Okay, so
it shouldn't be in your mouth.
She said that she already said she's just here now, which I don't know what to do with that. So, New Year's. Next week's New Year's. We're doing a New Year's episode. It's going to be great. But until then...
That's the last comment I saw. I just want to read that out for you.
Yeah. I've been your host, Tim Hopkins.
And you've been hosted by me.
Hayon of Rimlu.
Yeah, that's right. You got it right. You guessed it. You nailed it in one.
It was good.
we've been spoiled for choice. You've been spoiled for choice.
I hope you guys are full because you've been spoiled for choice. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming.
Bye, fellas. Oh, sorry. That's it.
I
Johnny
promise.
said, bye, fellas.
I promise I'm getting the YouTube up and running soon. I promise.
I promise he's getting the YouTube up and running because he has the videos. I don't have them.
That's true.
Or I just posted.
See you guys later. Bye.